There we go. Three, two, one, action. I'll open up with a little song here, and then I'll tell you about what we're going to do in the class today and have a little fun with that. So here we go. Thank you. Well, we hope you had enjoyed that opening number. Oh, okay. No applause, I guess. I was trying to get behind the applause.
That's
It's in
close
there
enough.
somewhere, but
It's applause at the farm.
all my animals love that, I guess. So, all right. Well, that was just an opening number. I am going to touch on something I did through that, but that's not the class today.
Robert,
But
we
yes,
had a couple people asking the name of that song.
the name of the song is called Anniversary Song.
Mm.
Okay, not Anniversary Waltz, Anniversary Song. And it's also known as, I think, the the Danube Anniversary Song, also known as the Danube Waves, I believe. Someone could look that up, and there's a whole history on that. So sometimes people hear that title and they find a song called Anniversary something, and then they find Anniversary Waltz. Anniversary Waltz is a totally different melody, totally different song. Uh, so that's a fun. It's a great number. It's got a lot of emotion and what have you. But I did some things in there. One of the things I did in there, I'm going to touch on. So I'll come back to that. But I wanted to test the camera out today to zoom in because in some of the classes from time to time, we might have referred to this, talked about it, sometimes a little detail depending on the class. I want to spend a little extra time, and that is on your screen. Now, this is the EX Elite Series class, so it's supposed to be for ARIA Marquis, Grand Marquis. However, what I'm going to talk about today is going to be beneficial for anyone with a touchscreen. Now, as you can see, I don't have a marquee or an Aria, boo-hoo, but I do have an Inspire here that has the touchscreen. So, but anytime you pick a rhythm style, and you just turn on the instrument and you go to your rhythm styles, and you pick a rhythm, you know, you have it at the top of the window here. Let me see if I can zoom in now. Let's see here. Ooh, Jerome, I hear Jerome in the background going, yeah. See, he's muted, so you can't hear him, but he's in a room next door, so I can hear everything he's saying. Ooh, yeah. All right, can you see that okay?
Yeah.
I need to get closer. Let me see what my speaker view looks like. Let me get, oh, that's as far as it can go. All right, so I'm going to keep it right there. And
That's pretty good, Robert.
all right, that's as close as I can get. I guess I can pull the cart a little closer. All right.
I can see the
Robert, I just got in. What are you going to be talking about right now?
I really haven't said it yet.
Oh, okay, good. I
So
was on-
perfect. So perfect timing.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Okay. So what I'm going to be talking about today is editing your styles a little bit. All right. And what you're going to see on the screen, depending on your model, obviously you marquee Aria owners, your screen, it's going to show up somewhere else. But basically you want to find the part of the screen, and also even the A series models has it. I believe that's on the left. But right here, there's a little option here that says touch here to edit style. Okay. Now, I know some people sometimes touch that, but I know there's a lot of people who don't. Okay. And you touch it and this stuff comes up on the screen. All right. What this is telling me is basically for the rhythm that I have selected, what the main instruments are in that background. So if you look, and looks like there's people jumping in, someone's helping out. So here is the big band rhythm. Now I'm going to turn down the organ a little bit to do this. All right, so everything you're hearing in this rhythm right now is a guitar, piano. If you can see that in the window, it says saxes and flutes, brass section, and strings. Now I'm going to turn off stuff. I'm going to turn all of them off. So right now all you hear is the drummer, the bass, and the left-hand chord. Now I'm going to turn off the left-hand chord too. All right, just so you could hear that. So I have a rhythm selected. Whatever the drummer is, and whatever the bass player's auto bass is doing. So right now you hear no other band members. Now I'm going to go through each one. The first one here says guitar. All right, now when I do that, I have them all selected off. It shows it in the screen and it shows an individual volume for that. Okay, so as I'm playing, the first one here, it says guitar in this case. I'm just going to turn it on and see if you can hear it. Okay. Now I'm going to turn that off and turn the second one on. It says piano. Okay. Now, what you need to know is sometimes if I have the rhythm on, now I don't know what's going to happen in this case, but sometimes you'll hear a sound or you'll see a sound, but it only is active in the introductions and endings. So we'll see if that happens in this case, but I don't think the saxes and flutes will. You notice the sound, it's not always saxes, it's not always flutes. When Bill Curry programmed that, he programmed it a certain way to play All right, now watch. Let me put on brass section. There we go. Turn it off, and the last one, strings. Oh, there we go. Now when you put them all on, they're all doing their part. So what's cool about this screen is we refer to a lot of times, we'll say, you know, if you're playing, you want to just you want to cut back a lot of the band members, we'll say over to the side of the instrument here, there's a button here that says Basic and Orchestra Plus. All right. Now some of you have a Genie and Orchestra Plus. All right. Same concept. When you turn off that Orchestra Plus, what happens is every one of these instruments from here down, the first one is always Basic or Genie, depending on the model you have. Genie is the A series, okay? Basic is the E series terminology. Functionally, it's the same thing. Now, everything else, you'll see here, if you can see the words okay there, it says Orc 1, Orc 2, Orc 3. So when I turn off this Orchestra Plus, what happens is it's selected there, but this button just turned off all these musicians at once. Listen. However, even though the screens aren't individually turned off, it's a very quick turn off. So all you hear is the guitar. So the answer is yes, Cheryl Francis. She says, do I have this info on the screen? So basically, whenever you pick a rhythm style, you're going to have an option that says touch here to edit style. You will not see that until you have a rhythm style selected, okay? Just remember that. And then you do exactly what it says, touch here to edit it, all right? And then you can go in, and in this case, all of these musicians is what's making up this rhythm style. And you can go and interchange. You can interchange them however you want. So maybe in this case, I have guitar, piano, and the strings. So the guitar is pretty consistent, if you notice. And the piano is just occasional. Listen. I mean, you may go in and say, you know what, I kind of like it with just the piano. All right? So you can do things like that. Now, the cool thing is if once you have that screen up, all you have to do if you want to have some fun is touch one of the buttons, if you will, and then you can change the musician. So if I touch piano and scroll, and I'll have it playing while I'm scrolling. These are all the different piano sounds. And some of them are quite a bit different. That's a sound for Jerome. I know he likes those electric piano sounds. Oh, I went to piccolo by accident, but there you go. You could even bring in, let's go through and let's find something that's totally different. You can have a bloop. Now what I'm going to do is go up to the now notice the trombone. Now notice how much stronger it is in the piano. I can go in and turn that down. So the trombone player is now doing the part that the piano player was doing. Now let's bring back our guitar. And let's change the guitar. I'm going to leave it there. Turn the guitar down. Now let's bring in our strings. Let's bring in our saxes. Now let's change the saxes to something else. Scat vocals. All right, now I'm going to leave it there. Now, if you really like, this is the trick. If you like what you hear and you want to save it, here's what it is. Make sure to save it to a preset, and you simply do, this is not today's lesson, but I'm going to cover it. Memorize, and I'll just do A. I'll do C because I have something in A that I'm going to come back to. And then I'll do 1. And this is the trick here. You have to save it with a style because I'm saving what's in the style. Okay? All those changes. I don't really necessarily care about the transpose in this. And then I confirm it by pushing memorize. Now, I don't know if you could see that there, but let me just go just a hair down. So I pushed memorize. I picked number 1, and I put with a style. And then I confirm it by pushing memorize, and then you'll see in the screen it says memorized to C1. So now I have C1 here. This is what we just created. This is the original. This is what we created. So you can really have a lot of fun with this. Now, here's the thing. Here's the trick. I strongly encourage going through this because you're going to find yourself, a lot of times you're going to find stuff you're going to go, oh, that's yucky. But every now and then you'll find something that you might fall in love with, and you save it to a preset. Now, here's the cool thing. If you don't like what you did and you want to start over, just turn off the style setup and turn it back on, and guess what? It defaults back to its original. Okay? Now, before I go any further, do we have any questions? Oops, if I could hit this camera. Do I have any questions? Let me see.
Yes,
Who said yes?
I did. Sue Kelly.
Sue Kelly.
Sue Kelly. Where are you, Sue Kelly?
I'm up the top.
There you are. You are. Sometimes you're located in a different spot than I see you, so I'm like, yeah, but it's the same. Okay, Sue, go ahead, ask your question.
That style setup button, I've never touched that. I just go to one of the rhythms, and then I scroll for either a song list or the style. There.
Yes, because when you turn on the organ, I have this camera view. When you first power up the organ, it comes on automatically.
Correct.
So that's why you don't have to press it.
Oh,
Okay? It's in yellow right now. When I press a rhythm style, it turns red. Means it's activated. And then as you press the other buttons, you have other style setups as long as that one's selected. So what happens is when in this case here, I chose Franken the count, style setup, and then I touched here to edit style. Now it's still in the style setup mode. Okay, and then what I did is I just changed stuff on the screen. You know, there was no rhyme or reason. I didn't have anything planned when I did that. I just wanted, and if you don't like what you hear when you do it, you can always just turn it off and turn it back on, and it brings back everything to its original.
okay. Thank
All
you.
right.
Okay.
Now,
The question from Marcia.
Marcia,
Yes, I just got on. Hi.
hi.
No, I don't have a question. Is it saying I have a question?
Well, Joni thinks you have a question.
Oh,
Well, now you have to think of a question, Marcia. No, just kidding.
Okay, what are you doing?
All right.
Wow.
So anyway, so when you select a style and you touch here to edit style, that screen comes up, and it's pretty simple to use. You just touch and scroll, and if you find a sound that you like, just remember that you can control the volume of each individual one as well. Okay? Now, I'm going to give you a couple examples of what I did, and then maybe you can try this. So the song that I played, Anniversary Song, I actually used 3 different waltzes to play this. I used a Viennese waltz, I used a lullaby waltz, and then I used Bojangles. Okay? And I had my arrangement with it. But the Viennese waltz, I didn't change anything. I used whatever was there in the factory. All right? Let me change the camera here and back it up a little bit. Woo! Zooming back out. All right. So this is the Viennese waltz. If I look in the screen, these sounds are exactly the same as it would come up with the rhythm preset or style setup. So nothing different there. All right. Let me get a little closer now. I'm going to have to buy a remote control. Oh, where is that going to? Oh, you know what I did? I reversed the camera by accident. Sorry. Flip that back over. Oops.
Ooh.
Sorry. I'm trying to do this. I have to go peek around. Okay, sorry. Here we go. All right. All right. Can you see that okay?
Yeah.
Okay. Let me put up my speaker so I could see what you're saying. All right. Okay, so now this is the Viennese waltz that you heard. Now, the other style that I used was lullaby. Now, lullaby is a very cute style. Oops, I'm using rhythm preset. Let me go back to my presets here. There it is. So lullaby, you'll notice in the screen there, you'll see this, but I'm going to put on the style setup because I'm using my own presets. I changed it and saved it. Now I'm going to put it back to the factory for a moment and see if you can catch what changed. Here we go. Oh, there was 2 things, I think. Did you see it? I did this arrangement so long ago, I forgot what I did, so let me go back. Okay, so right here, see if I can get, that's as close as I can get. Right here, this is the sound that usually comes up with lullaby. Okay, which is it's nice. Now I'm going to put on what I changed. I changed the music box and this sound called the pad to choir and handbells. Can you hear the difference? Here's the normal. Sometimes it's just a subtle change, but that little subtle change, I liked it so much I saved it in a preset. Now, let's turn off, let's put it back to the style setup, and I'm going to turn off everything but those 2 sounds so you could hear it. All right? Here is the lullaby waltz, no harp, no strings, no choir, the pad and the music box. Which is pretty. You might use that for an arrangement someday. Okay, now here's what I changed it to. Now I'm going to just isolate just those 2 sounds, and here's what we have. You hear the difference? You could hear it subtle. It's not drastic, but enough to make a little bit of a change. And so a lot of times what happens is, you know, I take a sound like this. Another example, I'm going to pull this up and I'm going to answer a question and see if I can multitask. Carolyn, do you have a question? Carolyn Storms?
I did. When you did C1, correct? You memorized?
When I memorize the preset, yes.
Yeah, you memorized it to the organ, but you mentioned that you pressed a button and it went back. In other words, I lost my train of thought when you continued talking there on other subjects. But let me say that on the, go back to the touch screen, please. Okay, now you were editing the
The freaking account.
yes, and
Okay.
you had edited it, and then you said if you made a change and you didn't like it, you would just hit the button again and it would disappear.
This is what I,
However,
yeah. So when I have Frank in the count,
right,
and I
go
pull
ahead,
up the screen,
right,
I'm starting from scratch as a style set up.
exactly.
So this is what it is, and if I change it, and I change it, and I change it, and I won't play it, but I'll just make all these changes. And if I play this and I go, I like it or I don't like it, if I don't like it, I'll turn off style setup and reactivate it, and it puts it back to the factory setup.
Okay, now if you memorized it to the organ only, correct? You didn't save it to a stick. You didn't go through
Yes,
that. I
temporarily,
can
I-
understand that. That
Yeah,
I can understand.
Temporarily, I saved it to the organ, yes.
Okay, and it will stay there until you, even if you turn the organ off, is that
Yes, if
correct?
it's on, if you save it to the organ, you turn off
Yes.
the organ and come back, it should still stay there. It will stay there until you do one of a few things. Do a total reset,
Right,
a reset presets, or what I did is I loaded in some new setups, so I wiped them out, obviously. I repl-
I was
I
just gonna
replaced
say
them.
that.
which is fine. I just replaced them. But or if you load it, so if you have something on the organ that you really like, make sure you save it to your USB stick. All right.
Okay,
Yeah.
thanks very much.
You're welcome. Now, what I'm going to do is show a couple of examples. And what I'm doing here is giving you examples that maybe you can start simply. Now, the easiest way to do this, folks, is to pick a rhythm, touch that screen, and start pushing the buttons up and down. Just move them around. All right? Because you might find something you like. Here's a song that I have an arrangement for that I really love. And typically, it comes up with I arranged it with a soft gospel. Now, soft gospel usually sounds like this. This is a style that I think Jerome really loves. He actually uses this style a lot for a lot of songs. I think he's done some Beatles songs with it. He's done a lot of great, but what happens is he alters the things that I'm telling you. So it doesn't sound like a gospel, and it works with I think he did Hey Jude with it recently in one of the classes. But this is what soft gospel typically sounds like unaltered, okay? Now that's just a rhythm. Now I'm going to put the fill in. Okay. Now what I did with this song, and I do this a lot in a lot of arrangements, but not only did I tweak the background a little bit, but I might have changed an instrument or two, but let's see what happens here. Same thing with the intro. Now you can see the screen there. Now look at the screen. Stop right there, but so you can see in this case, now here's what it normally looks like. This is what I did to it. So those are the sounds. Now I may not have changed the sound, but let me put it to the factory. So I'm going to push style setup, a rhythm preset, and let's see if it changes. Okay, so it did change. So I remember when I did this arrangement, I didn't want to use what was there. Now some people say why, and my answer is because I said so. So I just wanted to change it. So here is again that background. It has a piano, strings, acoustic guitar, and electric piano. But when I did it, I'm going to leave that up there in case you're writing this down. This is the factory. Now this is what I changed it to. Let me put it back. Okay, so what it looked like I did is I changed the standard piano, and yeah, I put the piano to an electric piano classic. And then at the bottom, you'll notice there's an electric piano there. Okay, now if I turn this stuff off, now here's what I did for that style is I turned off the drummer, I turned off the auto bass. Okay. So let me do that. Turn down the drummer all the way. No bass. All right. No left-hand chord. And put that style screen back up. And this is what you get. I'm going to turn off Orchestra 1 and Orchestra 2. Okay. So this is what it would sound like before I change the sounds. That's pretty too, actually. But what I did is I changed the piano here to a different electric piano. So I had two different electric pianos. And the end result was you got it sounding like this. Very just pleasant, soft. And then you could take, you know, a nice solo sound and start off with this. Oops. I'll stop right there. I just
Robert, you have a question from Stuart Miller?
Go ahead, Stuart.
Yes, hello.
Hi.
I've been playing with this the last few weeks, and I just like you to confirm something I think I figured out. You see on the last screen, you had 5 instruments.
Yep.
This one you have 4.
Yes.
I believe you cannot add a 5th if it's not already built into the style. Is that correct?
That is correct.
That is correct.
Okay, thank
Yes.
you.
So depending on some styles don't need more than what it's originally designed for. And here's the other thing is some styles, let's see if I could find the one that I think. Okay, here it is. Swing Train. If you put up the Swing Train and you pull it up, it says there's 5, right? There's the 4 Orchestra Plus plus the basic, but the 5th one there, that Orchestra Plus, is only used in the introduction and ending. Watch. That choo-choo is only used in the introduction. So sometimes that 5th one is only used just for the introduction and the ending. In most cases, though, however, you'll see 5. So if I put someone pick a rhythm style. First
Okay,
one's
I think Pop's piano only has 2.
Pop's piano. Well, yes, it's very possible. What did you say? Pop piano.
I think, yes, if I
All right. Well,
remember
here's
right.
pop piano. Let's see what it says. There are only two, and I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of the pianists and guitar styles are similar. Let's put on another pianist here. Let's see what happens. Boogie Woogie may have a little more, but let's see. Boogie Woogie actually has 5 options, but a lot of the piano styles start off with just a piano player plus the drummer and the bassist in the background. So you may find, oh, that one did it. Smoky Lounge. Let's see what happens. Smoky Lounge, the pianist version of the Smoky Lounge, you'll notice there's only 3. So yeah, that's that's just the way that style was programmed from by Bill when he did those. So some may have all 5 being used, and some may have 3. But in most cases, most of the full band styles, they're going to have all 5 being used, and you can interchange those. Now, somebody give me a rhythm style. Just pick a regular rhythm style. We're going to experiment a little bit here.
Try Latin, Greg here.
Latin Greg? I don't know if there's a Latin Greg, but there is a Latin category.
No, Greg here, that's me.
Okay.
And you are Roberto.
You can call me whatever you like. All right.
Roberto.
I'll do a Latin style. And now there's a bunch of Latin styles. So let's pick, how about, let me see what Mambo has. Okay. I'm going to use, you said pianos, what? Romanticos? Is that on here? It is? Jerome says it is. Trios Romanticos. But that might be a guitar. I want to look for, that only has 3 in it. But that's okay. We'll start there, and I'll pick another Latin style. So here's what you normally get. Okay. Now let me pull up the screen here so you can see it up close. Now when I do this, a lot of times when I experiment like this, you'll notice, I may not say it all the time, but if you see me reaching up and turning this tab off, it's because I'm turning off the lower chord. And the only reason why I'm doing that is all you hear is the band. Okay? All right. And in this case, it's just a bass and the musicians. Now I'm going to bring in the drummer too. Okay? But this time, what I'm going to do is put some musical instruments in here. Now, somebody name a musical instrument we want to put in there. Drums in the background shouting. He's not a student, so I'm going to let you pick.
Grand piano.
Grand piano. Okay, so I'll start with the first one. It says rhythm guitar, and I'll go up to the pianos. And let's put in a simple piano. Now there is another way, a shortcut, but I'm going to do it like most people. And I'll just, all right, not grand piano. For the strum guitar, pick another instrument that we're going to change it with. And it doesn't have to sound good, okay? The point is we're just going to experiment.
Oboe.
Oboe. Okay, that's going to be funny. Who said that? Who said that?
Wayne said that.
Wayne, oh, that's what I figured. This will be interesting. And for our solo guitar sound that was there, let's change it to something else. Somebody give me a sound.
Mandolin.
I heard mandolin and what else?
Clarinet.
And clarinet. When you get a mandolin and a clarinet mixed together, what you get is a saxophone. Did you know that? You didn't know that, did you?
No.
I didn't either. I just made that up. But and we'll just go to what did I say? Saxophone. Okay, S. I should have said mandolin because the M's were closer. Actually, well, I saw when I went. We'll put recorder. So this is what you just did. Here we go. I don't know how to take that. It's funny. You can always tweak it, turn it down, say the oboe's a little too much. Let's turn it. Actually, we have a little rhythmically though. If you ever, here's a little bit of a trick to keep in mind. Whatever you see in there, look at the instruments. If they're rhythmic, try to find another sound that might be a rhythmic type of sound. Guitars, pianos, and organs are the first best choices for those. And then if they're solo instruments, try to pick another solo sound. But that's okay. I'm going to go in here, since I'm in the O's, and I'm going to try an organ. Let's see, an organ. Let's see, which one is organ soft, tibia soft. Let's see what we get here. Okay, it wasn't too bad. Some people might say, the point is, the more you experiment, the more the odds are you'll find something you like. But if you want to keep it simple, start off with sounds that are similar to what you see in the screen. So if Genie or the Basic commonly comes up with a guitar or piano sound. Okay, you got a bunch of pianos and guitars in the instruments. The other sounds sometimes have solo type instruments that aren't necessarily playing all the time, but they're playing, like when we did the Franken account. Sometimes you'll see a guitar and a piano, two more rhythmic type sounds. Maybe choose different guitars or pianos. And you can experiment with that. Now, here's something that some of you may or may not know. This is pretty cool. Sometimes, now what I'll do is I'll save that sound, memorize, I'll put it to C1 with a style. Okay, so this is what we changed, is what you see on the screen there. All right, and then if I put it back to the Rit style setup, you have 3 guitars here. Okay, that's what makes up that style. But check this out, folks. You see the solo guitar sound here? I'm going to touch it, and I'm going to start to scroll to find another sound. And pay very close attention. And just a few nods. You all can see that sound okay? Solo guitar? Okay. Now watch this. I'm going to begin to scroll. And you notice it went to a guitar, right? Now I'm going to go back. Where did it go? Help me. Where did it go? Let's see what the strum guitar. Hey, where did it go? It went away. I lost it somewhere. Now I'm going to bring it back.
Oh, there it is.
It's there because I brought it back to its standard. Here's my point in this, folks. You're going to find that every now and then when you select a style and you touch that screen to edit, you're going to find that if you go and experiment, every now and then what Lowry does or Lowry or Bill, what he did, should I say, is he programmed a sound that only would be accessible when you select that style. So in that case, it said solo guitar, strum guitar, and rhythm guitar. So those might be some very unique guitar sounds that he used just for that style. And then the minute you touch it and scroll, it'll scroll with all the other guitar sounds in this case. But then if you go back, it doesn't exist anymore. That happens occasionally on some of the styles. And then every now and then most of the styles, if you touch it and you see the screen and it says piano and you scroll back, then you'll notice that that sound is still there. So be conscious of that. If you're experimenting with this and you go, wait a second, where did it go? The only way to get it back is by turning off and turning back on the style setup so it reactivates it. Okay? Now, here's a little to tie in with this. Here's a little bonus, I would say, arrangement tip. I do this commonly. If you don't want to experiment with changing sounds, but you like to experiment with this, there's something fun that you can do. When I play the song Besame Mucho, Ave Maria, Somewhere Out There, I use this technique. What I do is I'll select a style, and what I'll do is I'll select a style. If you want to write this down, select the style that you want to play, and I'll do it from scratch here, and I'll put on just a classic easy 4/4 rhythm, okay? And what I'll do is put the camera so you could see what's going on over here, all right? So I put on smooth, all right, easy 4/4 is the style. I think some of you have it under soft and easy, depending on the model you're playing, okay? Just a basic rhythm style here, nothing fancy. All right, now I'm going to turn that off, and here's what it normally sounds like. Okay, and so that's a pretty style, as you all know that's on, and I can think of all sorts of great songs. All right, so this works nicely for that. You can do okay, and I'll speed it up for the songs I'm going to play. All right, so that's the style as it is. Now here's what I'm going to do. I would write this down. It's a very common arrangement tip that I give. First thing I'm going to do is I'll turn it on, and so you could hear it as I do it. Okay. Turn off your drummer completely. So your rhythm volume, or in this case, there's a little picture of a drummer, and I'm going to just turn it all the way down till you can't hear it anymore. Okay. So no drummer, right? Second thing I do is turn off my lower, so no chord. Okay, so now you hear the bass, the rest of the band that we'll get to in a moment, and no chord sound, no drummer. But now I'm going to also turn off the drummer, or the bass player, sorry. Okay, so the bass is off, the drummer is off, and your left-hand chord is off. Now, remember, for this, let's see if I can do this without flipping the camera around. When you're doing this, you still have to play the chord. Okay, you remember I have to play the chord. This works great for a lot of slow songs, that if you ever want to build an arrangement, just a little bonus arrangement tip, okay? But the concept is the same of what we're talking here, because we're editing the style as well. We've already edited the style by turning off the drummer. We turned off the bass. And I turned off the lower. So right here is my lower tab. A lot of you have a lower tab here. Just turn it off so there's no chord sound. The drum volume all the way off, and then the auto bass. So now what you're left with is this. Okay? But now we're going to take it a step further. And I'm going to touch here to edit style like it says. Now there's a bunch of things in here. If you just turn them all off, except for the first one or two, here's what you get. So just a nice classic, in this case, just a piano. Let's try it with the electric piano. And let me zoom in so you could see now. Okay. Let's do the same thing that you just heard, but you're going to hear the electric piano. And what you can do is you can go back and forth and listen to the intros and endings with it. Okay, or maybe with just the piano. Let's listen to that. Now, personally, I like that. Okay, so I'm going to leave it there. So what did I do? I selected the style that I wanted. Start simple with a soft and easy type style. I turned off the drummer. I turned off the bass, which is something as simple as turning off auto bass. And I eliminated my lower chord. So now all I have is a piano background. Oh, sorry. Then I touched here the edit style, and then I turned off each individual one of those Orchestra Plus. Now what we have is just a piano player. Now I have to choose the melody sound, and you can choose whatever sound that works. I'm going to see what it sounds like with what it came up to. Now, because that's a stronger sound, I think what I'll do is I'll turn off the strings, and maybe I'll just put on just a piano sound here. Let's see. There we go. Let's see what we have down here. Ooh, I'm starting to like this. I wasn't expecting that to sound that good. In this case, there was a saxophone already built into the bottom keyboard here. Let me zoom out here so you could see. I keep forgetting. Okay. Connie, you have a question?
Yes, where did you turn off the piano on the right side?
The piano?
I thought you said you turned off the piano on the right side.
Oh, no, I turned off some strings.
Oh, okay.
Because what it had was piano and strings, and what happened was it was a little strong. I mean that works nicely, but because remember we took the orchestra and we edited it. We turned down the drummer, we took off the bass, we turned off our left chord, and then we went into the edit style, and I turned everything off but the piano that's in the background, the Genie or the Basic, and what's left is this. The sound that was originally designed with that preset was piano and strings, so it worked nicely with it. But now the melody is a little too strong. It's like, oh, that's a little bit too much. So what I did is I turned off the strings. All right, let me see. Turn off the strings. So all I have left is a piano sound on the right, on the upper keyboard.
Okay.
And to me, in this case, almost any individual sound that you use is going to work perfectly. Just one sound. Electric piano, saxophone. In fact, I'll prove it to you. Somebody give me a musical instrument.
Trombone.
I heard trombone,
Trumpet.
trumpet.
Flute.
Say it again.
Flute.
Flute. Okay, I'll show you all three of those. Okay, so I'll start off with the piano, and then I'll come to the sound button and put over here. There's a flugelhorn. I'll put a flute in there. We had trumpet. Did someone say trombone too? I heard flute, trumpet. It was a trombone was the other one. I'll show all three of those. Here we go. So here's the piano. Okay, now I'm going to switch to the flute. Okay, Let's see. I have saxophone down here. Trumpet. Okay, let's see. Let's bring out a trumpet. I probably should go to the screen and pull up trumpet by the keyboard. Alphabet T. Okay, here we go. I turned it down. Almost anything you use will work. Now, since I'm on that setup, here's what I would do to create a nice little arrangement. So I started off by just having the piano sound, right? Okay, I'm going to leave it right there. I'm going to hit memorize A1 with a style, and I'm going to save it that way. All right? And then I'll do another one. Maybe one time. All right? Now what I'm going to do is come back to the edit style. This is a common trick. I start bringing in some of the other stuff. And then maybe bring in the auto bass, and then I'll start off. And then I'll say, I like that, memorize A2 with a style, memorized. All right, and then maybe I'll bring back the drummer. And then we'll use the flute. Someone said a flute earlier. Let's see. Where did that flute go? It was a pretty ballad flute. Keypad. Oops. Keypad. F. And let's do now. And I go, okay, I like that, memorize A, and I'm saving it there within the style, okay? So essentially what I did is I have now then there you go. You have an arrangement. And you can use that for so many songs. And I'll tell you what I just did is I got inspired by this setup is I'm going to expand on it and come up with about 4 or 5 more others. And if anybody wants it, go to our Patreon site, and it'll be a bonus little for the Patreon members. So I'll put that on there. I'll finish up with a song here in a moment. But before I do that, Gail, you have a question?
Yes, Robert. When you were first illustrating, you turn off the drum and the, let's see, what the bass, and then you said you turn off the lower chords. I don't understand what that is. You push.
When you play your left hand, most people, when they put on a rhythm style, a lot of times there's a chord sound, the strings or whatever's down here, and sometimes it's not very strong. Here's the style set up as it is. Okay. I'm going to turn off the drummer. Okay. Now I'm going to turn off the bass, auto bass off.
Okay.
Now you hear the rest of the band, but there's also a chord sound playing.
Yeah.
I'm going to turn the lower tabs off. So you don't hear that chord sound. Now to really hear it, I'm going to touch the edit style feature like I was showing you. I'm going to turn off everything but that first sound, the piano. Now, if I have that chord sound on, the lower sound, that sound here, listen. It just has a, most people refer to it as the hum, the chord that's holding. A lot of times people think you need to have that chord on to play. You don't need to have that sound on. Sometimes it actually is a bit much in this case. So what I like to do is turn it off. So all I have is just the background. Now notice I'm still playing the chord.
Okay, that's why I was confused, because you said you push the tab that says turn off the chord, or the left chord.
The lower tab right here.
Yeah.
In the middle. It's in the center for everybody.
So
when you turn that left tab off, the sound that you would normally hear when you play a chord, the chord sound, will no longer be heard.
You mean the humming sound?
Commonly known as the hum.
Oh, okay. Because I was confused. I thought, how are you going to play the chords if you turn them off? Oh.
However, I'm glad you brought that up, because you still have to play physically the notes to play the chord, whether you're doing one finger or three finger.
Okay.
Here it is with the sound. It's string and 8-foot flutes in this case, or something else there. Now listen carefully when I press the tab and turn it off. Now kind of that hum went away. All you hear now is the piano that's in the background, okay?
Okay.
Now, if I'm playing the song, you still have to play the chords of the song, whether you're a three finger or one finger. See? Oh, now I have it back to the original. Let me put the one that we have to. You still have to change the chords so the band, whatever band members are left, whether it's a piano or electric piano, they change accordingly. You still have to play your left hand. You just remove the chord sound. Did that answer your question?
Yes, thank you very much.
Okay, Bonnie?
Okay, if you turn off that lower tab, does that affect the MCS plus plus? Will the MCS plus plus still add those extra notes in that?
If you have the MCS Plus feature on, and the MCS Plus is doing what it's supposed to be doing, MCS Plus will still be in effect. However, you're not going to hear the chord. So if I have MCS Plus on, okay, and like here I have one MCS Plus. Normally that sound would sound like this. Here's without MCS Plus. It's just a 3-finger chord, right? Here's with MCS Plus. It's a lot stronger, right? But if I turn off the lower tab, that goes away. So the effect of the MCS Plus will go away in the left hand. However, it has been said that if you use a harmony and you have MCS Plus, sometimes it will affect the harmony. But in a case like this, I don't use a lot of big sounds, because if I'm taking away a bunch of stuff, I don't want to have a big sound up here. It'll get rid of, it'll overpower the background. So essentially, MCS Plus is still in effect, but you're not going to really hear it because I turned off the chord sound that it's affecting. But it's still there. Okay. Connie, you had a question?
Yes, if you turn on or hit the home button, does your whatever you memorized, does that go away?
Any changes go away except for if you have it saved into the organ.
Right.
No, this home button does not reset those presets. Home button is just like turning it on and off. Okay.
But if you turn You turn the organ actually off, though, aren't you going to lose what you have in?
Not if you saved it in the presets.
Oh, okay. All right.
So if you saved it in the presets, it should stay there. Now, these are computers. It has happened where it's done it when it wasn't supposed to, but it's not supposed to. And I'm going to say 99% of the time it will not. Okay? If you have something saved there, it'll remain there until you do a total reset, reset presets, or if you load in other presets over it, because then it replaces those. Okay? All right. I'll finish off with a song, and I'll show off another example where I do this. But before I do, I got to give my typical announcement and commercial. Oh, Sean wants to say something. He's doing what he tells you guys. Instead of
I'm
using
raising
the
my
raise
hand.
hand feature, he's going like this.
Well, I just wanted to mention before we close out, if you guys do a lot of this stuff that he's doing there, if you're playing around with it at home and experimenting, trying a lot of these new things, what do you want to do after that is what he just said. You want to save it, right? Save your work. Well, next week, it's a product series class for the A series I'll be teaching next Wednesday, the 10th, I think. I'm going to teach on the A series, but anybody in here can use it. I'm going to teach how to do exactly that. I'll teach you how to save your presets, save setups, and so hopefully everybody here can learn from that. So anything he's doing and anything you work on with this sort of stuff, you can save it. So I'll teach you that next week, Wednesday the 10th. And I guess while I'm here, I'll just show you a couple other things. I want to make sure you guys are aware of our website. You probably all used it to get into this class today. So let me just show you that a little bit. I get calls most days. I've gotten one today and, some every day. Where's the class? I can't find it. I need to get on. The easiest way to get to any class is right when you go to our website, FletcherMusic.com. Just scroll to the bottom here, and it actually has what's coming up the soonest here. So it has what's coming up, tomorrow, today, this week. So those are going to be the most recent ones down at the bottom. If you want to just look around, see what else is coming up, this classes and events button here, you can look through several different calendars of different types of classes where the variety classes are just across the board for anybody. And then down here we have product feature. This is the one we did today. We did our EX series class. And every week we do a couple different ones. So this is the one I was mentioning. Next week I'll be teaching A series, but even if you have an EX or Marquee, Grand Marquee, anything like that, it will still apply. So then at the bottom, if we have a concert like we do, I think next week, we got a good one coming up. You'll find that there. Anything else I need to mention, Robert? I think you're muted somehow.
What time is your class on the 10th?
That's at 12 p.m. Arizona, 2 p.m. Eastern.
He's going to be doing it from right here at Tucson.
Oh, yeah. I'm going to have Robert looming over my shoulder watching me the whole time. So I got to do a good class.
Yeah.
Not that I wouldn't otherwise.
Yes, there is one other thing, and that is I mentioned our Patreon site.
Yeah.
I have some wondrous ideas, and I am going to tell you it's worth being a patron on that. He's going to screen share again. He's a screen sharing. He loves screen sharing, but it froze.
When it works.
When it works.
Is it moving up and down?
It's not doing anything. It just says
Oh, boy.
screen sharing. It's like you're tricking us. And then I'm going to finish off with a number using the some of the concept that I told you today. Is it there?
Yeah, I'm working on it.
You're working on it.
Even if we get everything right, then Zoom makes a goof and doesn't work. So let's see. Can you see that there?
Yes.
Okay.
So many of you are patrons, and that's great. We thank you. But coming real soon, I'm actually going to send a message out to our Patreon members and today, and the question is going to be a message. Is going to be in a question. It's going to say, "Give me a song that you'd like to hear and the easy playbook that it's in." And I'm sure I'm going to get a bunch of responses. We got 83 members now, And I'm going to pick one of the songs, and I'm going to put an arrangement together and post it on our Patreon website. So it'll be for our Patreon members. However, like today, I also said I'm going to finish the arrangement that I started for the rows using what we said, and I'm going to post it, and you'll be able to see it. Now, what he just showed was if you were going on to the Patreon website, there is two ways you can see it. I'm going to put this up, see if my screen share is working. Is it working?
Yep.
Okay. So like here, you'll see that if you're a Patreon member, all those things don't have an unlock on it. Every class plus some bonus content. So like here, when I did the variety class, we put the handouts in there and what have you. Now, some content is free and some content is for Patreon members. And then what we're working on, in the process of working on, is bonus content. So each of our staff members is working on putting together 3 to 5 minute bonus tips for the Lowry and the SD models. And we're going to post that, and the people that are patrons will be able to see that. It might be a special musical, it might be something, who knows. What I'm going to do is a special arrangement based on request. So if you're a Patreon member, make sure to respond, and then I'll find the song and the book that it's in, and I'll create an arrangement for it, and then I'll put it up there, and I'm also going to put the presets on there. So if you have the ability to do that, you'll be able to just download, install them. So for example, when I load in my presets for the song that I've played many times somewhere out there, you'll notice that I'm using a style here that usually sounds like this. It's called Love Ballad. It's gorgeous style as it is. Okay. And what I did is, as I instructed today, is I went into the screen and, oh, I got to put the rhythm back on. Sorry.
Go ahead, Bruce. You can make your.
I'm going to put the screen on. Okay. And then I'll zoom back out. So you could see when I put that on. Okay. And when I put my presets on, you'll notice I made some changes to it. So you'll see that instead of, like here it says electric piano, guitar, and strings, when I put it on, you'll see it has those instruments off. It starts off with electric piano. And then as I play, I'm doing the same concept. I start with no drum, no bass, and I don't use a chord sound on the lower keyboard at all the entire time. Okay? Everything is happening in the background. So I'll skip to the part with the introduction. Listen. Well, thank you very much, everybody. We hope you enjoyed today's class.
Very good, Robert.
And if you have any questions, you know who to call, right?
Yeah, Sean.
Ghostbusters.
Good class.
Ghostbusters.
Good class.
You know, your personal assistant. Inez, don't go far. Don't go far. Don't go far, Inez. Did you get your gift today? I didn't see it.
Yeah, he did.
Thank
All
you.
right. Thank you, guys.
Great information.
Thank you, Robert.
Thank you, Robert.
Thank
Very
you.
good.
Thank you.
Very good.
Inez, you had a question